I'm a dude, and I'm inviting you to join me on a podcast about brews.
Does that include stouts?
Yes, of course it includes stouts. Like I was saying, join us every Saturday on the journey into...
Wait a minute. Do you guys do anything about, like, IPAs?
Yes,
Stuff like that?
yes, we do IPAs.
Okay.
Yes. Anyway, join us on the Journey into Comics Network for Brews with Dudes.
Whoa, hey, have you guys do you care if I bring some Zima on?
Yes, I care if you bring Zima. Zima doesn't count. Zima's... Dr. Dongo. Anyway, join us every Saturday for a podcast that delves into the craft brew world.
The following is a Journey into Comics Network production.
Hello and welcome to episode, I believe, 6 of Kids for Sale podcast. I'm your host, Chris, and with me, as usual, is my beautiful wife and co-host, Ashley. Say hi, Ashley.
Hola.
Hola, ¿cómo está?
You're an idiot.
Okay, well, first off, I'd like to apologize for last week's episode that, A, it was so short, and B, it was so chaotic. We've had a busy few weeks. And at the last minute, we knew our episode was due, so since we couldn't get any time away from the kids, we figured we would just do it with the kids. And, if you listen to the episode, you saw how it turned out. We'll try to... I think we're going to do a couple more episodes with the kids, just because it was kind of fun, but we'll try to be a little more organized with it so we get a little better content out of it. But I guess first we can... recap these last couple of weeks, all the goings-on in the Plant/Malone household. I don't know. What do you want to start with?
I don't know.
We talked about the dog last week, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we got a dog. You can hear her jingling around in the background. That's actually going really well. She's fit in with the family really well for the last, what has it been, 4 weeks, 5 weeks since we got her? Three, 4, 5. And she adapted almost seamlessly, like she's been here forever. The kids love her a little too much sometimes. Scarlett likes to get a little bit rough with her, but that's her personality. Scarlett's a little aggressive.
Very aggressive.
So she tends to tackle the dog sometimes, and grab around her neck, and not like wring her neck, but like almost like just try to hug her around the neck. And I don't know, the dog takes it. She's a trooper. I had my hesitations about getting a pit bull.
Yep.
Yeah, we can air this out. It's fine. I had my hesitations about getting a pit bull. I'm not a pit bull hater, and I'm not one of those people that thinks that they're just aggressive dogs no matter what. I know it's more nurture than nature, but I mean, with any dog, there's the fear of the dog snapping, and my fear has just always been that with a pit bull, they are very strong, and they can do a lot of hurt in just mere seconds. But after meeting this dog, who we've named Duck, I think we discussed that last episode. She's absolutely harmless, and I don't believe she could hurt a fly. I mean, she tries sometimes, but she's not. She's too dopey to catch a fly. But yeah, I guess we can put an end to the pit bull debate, because now we have one.
No.
So Ashley wins.
I always win.
Yeah. So aside from the dog, Mark has started football. He had his first practice last week, and today was his 6th practice. And so far he's loving it. And I tell you what, the football world, we've been through soccer, we've been through basketball, we've been through baseball, and now we're on to football. And also dance class. We've been to dance class too. With the girls, obviously, but
why obviously?
because we've talked about it on the show already, that the girls were in dance class, and
Sure.
that was not meant to be sexist at all. I think Mark would have probably enjoyed dance class if we signed him up for it, but he was in the other sports. He didn't have time for it. Sorry, I'm eating a cupcake. But yeah, the football world, I mean, it's different. Sitting out at those practices, already in just 6 practices, the camaraderie of the kids on the team is already just unreal. Like even though the kids, most of them haven't even played the sport before, they're all like, I don't know, they're helping each other out. They're working as a team. It's awesome. It's awesome to watch, and Mark's really enjoying it, and I think he's getting a lot out of it. Even though I didn't think Mark was going to like it after watching the first couple practices, because it was like all running, all sprinting, and Mark's not the most active kid in the world. I was afraid he was going to give up, but he's powering through, and he's loving every second of it. He got to wear his pads today and actually start hitting people and getting hit, and he kind of seemed pumped to do it.
Which is very surprising because he cries about getting beat up by the girls.
Well, at home he knows he's going to get sympathy. I think he's already figured out he's not going to get any sympathy from his coaches. They're tough on the kids already, which is I think it's going to be good for Mark. I think he needs something like that. But yeah, and even just like the parents, like everybody just lines up along the side of practice and gets their lawn chairs out and sits there for the whole 2 hours and watches. It's I don't know, it's a whole different animal. I'm enjoying it so far. I know you could take it or leave it, but
I like to be home.
Yeah, I know. And it is a lot. They're working these kids hard. Like Mark has practice every single night this week. But once school starts, they dial that back a little bit. I think he's going to have practice 3 times a week once school starts.
I think it's twice.
Well, twice during the week and then on Saturdays.
Saturday, yeah.
So, but...
And then the girls are going to start soccer.
Yeah, the girls start soccer next week. Luckily, we were able to sign them both up on the same team, so we won't have to scatter to 3 different practices every week. It's only going to be 2. 2 teams worth of practices. What?
I think the girls are Tuesday and Thursday, aren't they?
I believe so.
What are soccer?
I think football is also Tuesday and Thursday. Well, that's good though. We get the sports out of the way on the same night, so we have 3 free nights every week.
I wonder what Jess is gonna do.
Well, I'm gonna edit her name out just because I'm not comfortable using it. My ex-wife is probably gonna have a hard time deciding between my son's practice and my daughter's practice. That's the point she was making. I don't feel comfortable using her name. I don't think we've used her name before, have we?
Probably.
Well, anyway, I don't feel right doing it anymore, so I'm not going to.
That's really dumb.
It's just the polite thing to do. I know
Maybe if I was saying something negative.
No, but she's not giving us permission to use her name on the podcast, is my point. I don't know if she even knows we have a podcast, and I don't know if she knows we've ever even discussed her on the podcast.
I didn't give you permission to make me do this, and you still did. Can we edit me out?
We're way too early into the episode to be starting this crap. But anyway, so yeah, football's going great, and I'm kind of excited for soccer. I think Scarlett's going to take really well to soccer because she needs
something.
She's very energetic, and I feel like she needs a full field to just run around on the whole time. And that's soccer is just running the whole time. So I think she'll enjoy it. But they are on the green dinos.
Yes.
Which is Scarlett's favorite color. So
yes.
Even though I've been telling her the last few days that she's on the green dinos and she keeps getting upset about it.
Both her and Libby got upset when I told them.
Yeah.
The other option was the yellow or something. Bumblebees or some crap.
My point is that kids just can't make them happy.
Never.
You pick their favorite color for their soccer team to be on, to be on their favorite. Ugh. You pick the soccer team that is their favorite color so that they can wear their favorite color jersey and everything.
I bet Libby would have been happy if we could have did pink or something.
Yeah, but...
that wasn't an option.
Wasn't an option. But we got her the next best thing. We got her pink cleats, and I guess her mom got her pink socks and stuff, which she won't be able to wear those because I think they supply the socks. And,
yeah, well, practice.
Yeah, I know, I get it. Practice. She can wear the pink socks to practice.
We need to get Scarlett the rest of her stuff.
Yeah, which actually, I almost... this is a side topic that we actually shouldn't be discussing on the podcast, but I almost gave Livy's mom the blue shorts we got her, which I'm thinking we can just, since she already got 2 pairs of shorts, we can just give the blue shorts to Scarlett instead. But that's not important podcast discussion. I just wanted to say it before I forgot about it. So now the world knows that we got Scarlett blue shorts. Well, we got Olivia blue shorts, but they're Scarlett's now.
What about the cleats and stuff?
I gave her the cleats.
Why?
So she could start wearing them and break them in. She was running around in them today at Mark's practice. Actually, it was funny. I wish I would have got a video. So Libby was at Mark's football practice. So I set up my chair and I was watching practice, and I brought Livy her cleats and her shin guards and a soccer ball so she could just mess around and, run around a little bit while Mark was having football practice. And she would set the ball down, and then she would run about 30 feet away and take a 30-foot running start to kick the ball, and then it would just dribble 5 feet. So, it was so funny. And she did it 100 times. She was getting so winded. But it was funny. I know it's not that funny without a video to show you, but just take my word for it. It was funny. So
I'm sure it was.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What else have we done? We took Scarlett to the fair last weekend.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was actually a lot of fun. Something to watch out for. I don't think they're doing it again this year. But maybe next year when the fair comes back through Lake County, Indiana, the Frugal Friday. I thought it was a great deal.
God, shut up about the food.
So I love food. And I love fair food, so it was perfect for me. So what Frugal Friday is, it was the first Friday of the fair, the Lake County Fair. They had all of the food stands set up a $2 special where they would take an item on their menu and either serve a smaller version of it or a sample version or something for $2, and every stand had a $2 deal. So instead of going to one stand and getting one item and dropping $10 to $15 on it, you could try a bunch of stuff. So I mean, I ate like a pig, and I think I tried food from 6 or 7 different stands, and it was great.
That piece of pizza pissed me off, though.
Yeah, and you picked the worst place to get a piece of pizza.
You told me to go there.
No, I pointed out that they said they had pizza on the side. I did not say, I didn't say go to this stand. I just said, you said you wanted pizza, and I pointed at the nearest stand that I saw with a slice of pizza on. But it even said, if you would have read the sign, it even said a sample serving of pizza or something. And also, it's your fault for not asking how big the slice was before you just went ahead and paid for it.
I was listening to my husband.
Yeah, I bet, because that's always happening, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Scarlett rode some rides, and we were stupid. We bought $25 worth of tickets.
22.
No, it was $25 worth of tickets that gave us 22 tickets. Because the tickets were $1.25 a piece.
Mm.
Or something like that. But it was 22 tickets for $25, which would have been all well and good, except for they were selling wristbands for $25. And Scarlett was the only one riding any rides, so she could have ridden 100 rides for the $25
well,
instead
she
of
still ended up riding all the rides she wanted to.
Yeah, but my point was we ran out of tickets and she still wanted to do more. I was done. I was ready to go by then.
We could have got her on more rides if you would have just...
Oh, yes, scam the carny people you were trying to do.
It's not scamming if they're not even looking.
No, you were totally... So we noticed that one of the guys wasn't paying attention.
Not one of the guys, multiple.
Okay, so yeah, because nobody was stupid enough to buy the tickets. They just assumed everybody had wristbands. So when Scarlett would walk up to go on the ride, a few of them didn't even ask her for the tickets. So like we were down to the last 2 tickets, and Scarlett was able to get on like 3 rides with those last 2 tickets, and finally the last guy did ask for the tickets. So
I think the only reason he didn't ask, he saw her holding them up.
I think he was asking for them.
He saw her.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We scammed 2 other people.
It's not scamming.
It is absolutely.
It's not
scamming.
like we copied the tickets.
No,
and
you know how I know it was scamming? Because she had the tickets in her hand, and you told her, Scarlett, don't show him the tickets unless he asks for them.
Exactly.
That is a scam. No, you
that
planned
is not
ahead.
A scam.
You planned ahead. That is
no,
a scam.
No,
that is
a scam.
Cheating.
They didn't even want the tickets, or else they would have asked for them.
You scammed them. Just admit it,
No,
and we can move on from this.
No, we didn't fool anybody. He didn't ask for tickets.
You stole from those innocent carnies.
Yeah, they didn't.
You stole a ride.
They didn't care.
But yeah, so we had a good time. Lake County Fair, blah, blah, blah. We're going to the Lake County Fair again this Saturday, which will be the day after this episode airs. So maybe the next time, and we will have all 3 of the kids with us when we go this weekend. So maybe the next time we can talk about how chaotic it was, or maybe we will have a great time. We'll see.
No, we won't.
Probably. I mean, the odds are against us for sure, but
stop having such high expectations.
There's always just that sliver of hope, you know.
No, there's no hope left.
Sliver of hope
in the world.
So
there's no hope.
On to the topic of tonight's episode, or today's episode, or whatever time of day you are listening to this. Recently, Mark has decided to start swearing, like using the word. Well, okay, I've caught him 3 or 4 times now, and the first 2 times he used the word properly, which makes me think these were not the first times he's done it. I mean, I feel like he's using these words pretty often. And then the last time it was not a phrase that I say. So this is why it leads me to believe he didn't pick it up from me, which I've been hoping he didn't pick it up from me. But it's not a phrase I use. But okay, I'll walk through each one of them, each incident, and then we can discuss.
Can you stop staring at me?
This is a conversation. We are having a conversation.
No, you're talking to the audience.
No, I'm talking to you, and they are hearing us talking. That's podcasting, dear. We are having a conversation.
Do not,
dear,
ever call me dear. Ever,
sweetheart.
I'll kill you.
So anyway, Mark cursing, which, by the way, Scarlett has done it plenty, but Scarlett only does it. She doesn't just do it out of nowhere. Usually, she'll do it like minutes after she hears us say.
She does it out of nowhere all the time. I always hear her going, "Damn it!" whenever she drops something.
Okay, yeah, that's my worst one. I say that a lot around the house.
We both curse like sailors.
I know, but that's my most common. I get pissed off about stuff, and my first reaction is "damn it" or "God damn it." So they hear that one a lot around the house. But that's Scarlett. She just says "damn it" most of the time. I don't think I've heard her say anything else other than that.
Oh, she said like the F word and stuff, but
I don't
that's
think
what she says after she hears us say.
Yeah. Oh, I have that video. I'll have to post a video of I was playing Wu-Tang Clan in the car with Scarlett one time, and we were listening to Bring the Ruckus, and after it was over, Scarlett said, "Can we listen to Bring the fucking Ruckus song?" So yeah, there was that one, but she didn't. My point is with Scarlett, she doesn't. I don't think she knows what the words mean, and I don't think she knows they're bad words necessarily. She just hears them used in moments of frustration, so that's when she uses them. Mark knows that they are swear words. He knows they're off limits, and he still has used them. So here's the first one. He had football camp a few weeks ago, and on the way to camp, I decided to try to pump him up a little bit, get him excited, and get him energized a little. So I played some music that I thought he would like. One of the songs was an Imagine Dragons song, and for whatever reason, he really likes Imagine Dragons. And it worked. He was getting pumped. He was getting all hyped up. We got to the parking lot, and we had a few minutes before the thing started, so he was just sitting in the car listening to it. He's nodding his head, and he's getting into it, and then after the song was over, he was just like, man, I love that song. I love that song. And then he looks at me and he says, do you want me to say it? And I had no idea what he was talking about. And I was like, say what? He was like, do you want me to say it? And I'm like, say what? What are you talking about? And he was like, are you sure? Are you sure you want me to say it? And I was like, I guess, yeah, go ahead and say it. And he goes, I fucking love that song. And I have to say, I was in absolute shock for a few seconds because my 7-year-old son just appropriately dropped an F-bomb. Like, he knew the context of how to say it. He knew how to put the inflection on it, and like I said, I don't believe that was his first time saying that, and I'm not sure where he picked it up or who he says it around or who he uses it around, but so I told him right off the bat. I was like, hey, I'm not going to tell your mom about this, and I hope to God she doesn't hear this episode. I was like, I'm not going to tell your mom about this, but don't do that anymore. You don't need to be saying that. And he was like, you're right, okay, yeah. So then, let's see, a week or two later, I'm in the kitchen cooking. He's in the living room playing Shadows of Mordor, which is his favorite video game. And he's playing Shadows of Mordor, and out of nowhere I just hear, shit. So I peek my head in the living room, and I'm like, what'd you just say? He was like, I didn't say anything. I was like, no. But I was like, I heard you. I know exactly what you said. I'm just giving you another chance to, like, explain it, you know? And he was like, I said shit. And I was like, why? He says, well, I'm surrounded by orcs, Dad. And I was like, okay, so that's curse word number 2 that he knows how to use appropriately. But then, after football practice the other day, I had the dog at football practice with me, and I had her walking around up on the hill trying to get her to go to the bathroom, and she was taking a leak, and Mark walked up while she was peeing, and he looks at me and he was like, dude, what the shit is she doing? And that's the one that, this is why I don't think he picked it up from me, because I don't say what the shit. I really don't like that phrase. I think it sounds dumb. But I know plenty of people that say it. So, I mean, I know he's heard it somewhere. So, again, he knows how to swear because he's heard other people do it before. But, so those are the stories that I can think of, at least that we've heard of the kids. Surprisingly, I don't think I've heard Livy at all.
She's too much of a goody two-shoes.
I know, but like I said, Scarlett says the things. I don't think she knows what she's saying half the time. And I don't think Livy at her age knows what she would be saying either, but she still has managed to not say anything.
I don't know. I think they know.
Even at 4?
Yeah.
You think they understand the difference between, like, bad words and...
Yeah, especially because, like, we yell at them for it.
But
I mean, Livy's probably heard us yell at Scarlett for it.
That's the other point of what I wanted to talk about tonight, is how to react to stuff like that. Because, like, should we make a big deal out of it? Should we yell at them for saying stuff like that? Now, it's one thing if they say it and we tell them, hey, you probably shouldn't say that, and then they right back to our face say it again, which Scarlett has been known to do stuff like that. Scarlett's the one that, as we're telling her not to do something, she will do it again right in our face just to let us know that she knows exactly what she's doing. Now, that is when I would yell at her for swearing, but, like, just censorship in general. Like, I know we don't want our kids using those words. But do you feel like making a big deal out of it and yelling at them is actually going to stop them, or do you think it'll encourage them to do it when we're not listening?
I don't encourage them.
So
I don't really care if the kids cuss. The only reason I stop them is because I know, like, at school and stuff, they'll get in trouble.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, too. So my biggest thing is not necessarily our kids cussing, which I don't want our kids cussing just because, I don't know, it's not appropriate for kids, you know? I'm not saying, like, you need to go out of your way to, oh, you never say these words, never, or anything like that. But, I mean, it's... The big thing is so even as an adult, you know I cuss all the time. I cuss. I mean, it's probably 50% of my vocabulary most of the time. But at the same time, I know the appropriate times and places to do it. To do it. When to say certain things, when not to say certain things. And as kids, I don't think they don't have that filter. That's my fear, is that we're going to be in a totally inappropriate place and they're going to start dropping F-bombs. That's why I don't want my kids cussing.
That's what I said. I only yell at Scarlett and then because I don't want them to start doing it in school.
Right. No, but not just at school. Like, I don't, it's not just
I said and stuff.
I know. My point though is just not just places where they're going to get in trouble for it, but places where it's not appropriate. Like, I don't know, you take them to a wedding and they're cursing in front of the wedding guests.
Everybody would laugh at it.
I guess it depends on the wedding. There's some really prissy weddings where, like...
Yeah, but we don't hang out with those kinds of people.
I guess not. But my point is that there's places where it's just embarrassing if it happens, and
isn't the whole idea of curse words like a religious thing anyway?
I honestly don't know. Realistically, that's not something we need to tackle on the podcast. I mean, according to South Park, it's like... I think it was a religious thing because in the episode when they finally were allowed to say shit on TV,
we're talking about South Park.
They released like a
talking about
demon
real life
or something. Is that what even happened? No, I don't even remember the real episode. Maybe I just made all that up. Anyway, I have no idea why curse words are curse words. I don't know. If you want to speculate, you can comment and tell us what it is. But my point is that there are times when it's appropriate and times when it's not appropriate, and I don't believe kids have that filter, and they don't know socially when it is okay and when it's not okay, and for that reason, I don't want my kids cussing. But the right way to stop them, is it yelling at them? Is it grounding them? Is it just giving them a little talk? Is it, what do you do to stop them? What do you think?
I think it's better to just talk to them and tell them when it is and isn't appropriate to do that.
And
I don't think it's ever good to punish a kid just by yelling at them without giving them an explanation.
Right, and I agree with that. But my point is, like, is yelling even the appropriate thing to do? Like, I know a lot of...
Plus, I mean, you got to know your kid, too. You got to know what works.
Yeah. Like... A good, for instance, and I hope my mom's not listening to this because I'm about to... I mean, I'm sure she already knows this, but just for, full disclosure, my mom was very strict about swearing when I was growing up. But to me, as a child, I almost feel like that made it cooler to do, to see if I could get away with it. And, by probably about Mark's age, I'm going to say 7, 8 years old, I have very vivid memories of, sitting on the bus with my friends and we'd be swearing the whole way to school. Just, probably not even using the words the right way, but man, it felt cool, And I feel like that's the opposite of, obviously that was the opposite of what my mom was trying to accomplish when she would yell at us for cussing, but at the same time, I don't know if there is a way to stop it. I mean, kids are kids. They're going to do it whether you want them to or not. They'll just find a way to get away with it. So, I guess that's, I don't know. The appropriate response, in my opinion, is to just talk to them. Like you said, talk to them, tell them when it's not right to do, and just tell them, too, that, I know you hear me say it a lot, but, that doesn't mean I want to hear you say it. And, around the house is not an appropriate time to say it either because I don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? Are you going to add anything to this, or are you going to sit there and look at me?
I'm going to sit here and look at you.
It's good co-hosting.
Well, I mean, what else do you want me to say? I mean, like I said,
I'm trying to have a conversation with you.
I don't even really care if the kids cuss.
How about censorship in general? You know, what age do they start watching PG-13 movies? What age do they start watching rated R movies?
Depends on your kids. Depends on their maturity.
I'd say that's a very solid point. Like I for a while was not. I wouldn't say I wasn't censoring Mark's video games at all. I kind of kept an eye on what he was playing, just because I don't want him playing something wildly inappropriate. Like I at one point.
Like Conker's Bad Fur Day?
Yeah, that's what I was just going to bring up. So I have some of the retro systems, and we have Conker's Bad Fur Day. And full disclosure, I said that already twice in this episode. Full disclosure, I have never played Conker's Bad Fur Day. I didn't know how crazy inappropriate it was. So Mark saw a game with like cartoon characters on it and put it in, and I thought nothing of it. And Ashley came into the room and said, "You're going to let him play that?" And I didn't know what it was. So, but
no, that is not how it was.
That is exactly
I told you
how
exactly
it was.
what it was, and you were like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. You won't know what it is."
No, that
and
is not
I
it at all.
know, yeah, that's exactly what happened. I had to fight with you about it because you were still going to let him play it.
No, that's
even
not
though
true
there's
at all.
even though there's like a flower with like boobs and stuff,
Oh my God.
and
You see, this is another example of you just embellishing details that are.
you don't remember anything. I don't
See,
understand why you think
you say that, but you're the one that doesn't remember what you had for breakfast yesterday, and all of a sudden, but when it comes to something that I did wrong, all of a sudden your memory is crystal clear.
that's how all women work.
No, you are only right because you think you're right. I'm telling you, you told me it was an inappropriate game. I saw what it was. I turned it off.
No.
Yes,
No.
that is exactly what happened.
No.
Don't believe what she says. She is lying.
No.
But anyways, so back to, so that was the only game at that point that I had not allowed him to play. I mean, I tried to keep the Mortal Kombats away from him just because that's also a bit much for somebody that age.
Well, Mark is, and that's the thing. Mark is sensitive.
Yeah, he is. And that's why, I mean, even Shadows of Mordor is actually a pretty violent game, and it's a bit much for him sometimes. He handles it pretty well, but, if we let him play a little bit too much of it, like a couple weeks ago, he started having nightmares, which the nightmares, to be fair, I think were Five Nights at Freddy's related. But either way, I told him no more of the dark, scary games for a little bit, and the nightmares went away. Which Five Nights at Freddy's, from what I understand, it is a kid's game. It's, I don't know what it's rated, but I mean they market it for kids. I don't think there's anything violent in it. I don't think there's anything I don't think there's any language or anything in it. I don't know. I've never played it. But man, is that just a creepy looking game. I don't like Mark playing it because it scares the crap out of him, and he has nightmares about it every time he plays it. Now his cousin, on the other hand, that's all he plays. He's obsessed with it, and he handles it just fine. So it is definitely a difference between the kids. They're only a year apart, and Cody handles it way better than Mark does. Again, Mark is more sensitive. And the dog's getting into the cat food, I think. But
Oh, why is the door open?
the door wasn't open. I think she's sticking her head through the cat door.
Well, hopefully it gets stuck. That'd be really funny.
But so back to censorship. I've recently decided. Mark is constantly downloading new games off of the PlayStation Market on the PlayStation, and I finally told him if a game says E, he can download it. Any game that says E, even the E10s, I don't care. Anything that says E on it is usually pretty good. The E10s even are there's nothing bad in them. The T's, I told him, he has to ask me first. And he has plenty of games that are T for teen on my PlayStation, but I've kind of screened them all and made sure that, like, it's not so much that I'm trying to censor things. Like, I know he's going to play violent video games. I know he's going to hear language and stuff. But the amount of it, I feel, is the thing that we need to screen. Like, the context of it. And, like, for instance, he plays Shadows of Mordor because which is a very violent game, but he's killing monsters. He's killing orcs. He's killing these big, giant, warg-looking things. I don't know what they are. But it's like, it's fantasy violence, you know? Whereas
Grand
Theft Auto, or even a Call of Duty game, that's like people-on-people violence, and I don't feel like he needs to be dealing with that right now. Not in that context, you know? I mean, it is a video game. I'm going to keep talking. She's checking on the dog. It is a video game, so I guess, I mean, if there was anywhere for him to see it, that would be the place, but he's not ready for it. He's at an age where he's not ready to learn about people-on-people violence, you know? He will be soon, so, I mean, I'm sure we're going to be dealing with that in the next couple of years, but at 7 years old, I have restricted him to, like, fantasy violence. And, I mean, I try to keep the language out of it a little bit, which is why I don't let him play online. Well, he can play online, but he doesn't get... the sound goes off as soon as online, because I don't want him hearing the trash people talk online, because it is absurd. It's like over and above what's necessary. But movie wise, I don't know. I don't know why, but like nudity, I don't.
That's just uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. It's not so much like that. I mean, it is a little inappropriate, but like, I don't know. We try not to be like prudish around the house, you know. Like, the kids have all seen each other naked just because they've been in the bathtub together and stuff. And like, this is going to start to sound creepy, but like, I don't know. The kids have seen me naked, I'm sure, like, just because I change in the house. I change in the house without. I mean, you
cover up, but it's not like you're like.
Yeah, I don't lock myself away 3 rooms away.
You cover
to change,
all your skin up, and they can't see nothing.
And I see that's. I don't want them to. I purposely don't want to like lock myself away when I'm changing, because I don't want them to think that their body's anything to be ashamed of, but I do want them to understand the importance of other people's privacy, you know, which is why I try to cover myself up, but, you know, I try not to be too, like, ridiculous, get out of here while I'm changing kind of thing, you know. I don't like them watching me go to the bathroom. That's more of a comfort thing, but that doesn't stop them from barging into the bathroom every goddamn time I'm sitting on the toilet. Well, every time.
You'd think you would learn to lock the door, so at this point it's your fault.
But, so, yeah, but the censorship, as far as, like, yeah, nudity in movies, it's uncomfortable to be sitting there watching a movie with your kids, and all of a sudden there's boobs, and it's just like, ugh. Even if it's with the girls, like, it's, I can't remember having to deal with it yet, and I don't think I want to. I don't even, when Mark's, like, a teenager, I still don't want to go through that.
Can you imagine, like, the parents that, like, sit with their sons, you know, watching, like, nasty movies? Like, yeah.
I don't know if that's a thing. Does that happen?
In this hillbilly town, I'm sure it happens all the time.
Parents are sitting watching porn.
I mean, more like dads.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Check that out, boy.
We live in Lowell, man.
I don't think that happens in real life.
I think it happens all the time.
I think that's something that only happens in porn.
I've never seen that happen in porn. Like the
family
with the
porn.
Son?
Yeah, that's the family porn. It's like a big fetish thing.
How would you know?
Oh, I don't. I'm speculating.
Gross.
It's purely speculation.
Gross.
So yeah. Anyway, back to censorship. This is kind of not really off topic. It is kind of off topic, but like, a lot of the newer cartoon movies have started, and this isn't even a new thing. This is like a decade old, but like they've started incorporating more like adult humor into them.
What are you talking about?
Stuff that flies
Movies
over
have been
kids.
doing that since like the beginning of time.
But I feel like every kids movie nowadays is geared more towards the adults that are taking their kids to the theaters, and then the actual like kids storyline is kind of second tier to the adult stuff. Like we just took the kids to see the Teen Titans movie, which we didn't talk about this on the last episode because I think we went and saw it like the day after we recorded the last episode, but
I don't remember.
We went and saw Teen Titans Go to the Movies, which I highly recommend. I loved it. I loved every second of it. That show on Cartoon Network is hysterical, and the movie was like very close to inappropriate a few times. Like there was a scene. There was a sequence in the movie where Robin is like trying to prevent the major superheroes, Superman, Batman, Green Lantern. Actually, I don't think Green Lantern was mentioned. I don't remember. But he was trying to prevent the major superheroes from becoming the major superheroes. So he was going back in time and stopping their storylines.
Are you gonna like?
Yes. Would you shut
give
up for
it
a
away?
second? No. Well, I don't think I'm giving anything away. I'm not giving this in context of the story. I'm just
Yeah,
something
but I mean,
that happened in the movie.
if somebody goes and sees it, it's kind of ruining the funniness of it.
Well, okay, spoiler alert. Skip over the next, I'm going to say 5 minutes, if you don't want Teen Titans Go to the Movies to be spoiled for you. So he goes back in time, and he stops Batman and his family from going down the dark alley where his parents get killed, and makes them go down like the happy alley instead. And then he stops Superman's timeline by stopping Krypton from exploding, and then he stops Aquaman by throwing the six-pack holder, the plastic six-pack holder, in the water and basically drowning Aquaman. And then, which that in itself was slightly inappropriate, was watching Aquaman get stuck in the six-pack holder. But then he goes to the future, and then the future's overrun with villains. So he goes back to save them again. And he goes back and stops Batman's family from going down the happy alley, puts a pearl necklace on Bruce Wayne's mom, and then shoves them down the alley, and then you just hear bang, bang, scream, and it's like, holy shit, is that dark for a kid's movie? It was hilarious. I was almost in tears laughing, but it was really, really dark. And then there's a scene when like baby Superman is like twerking, and he pulls his diaper off and he's shaking his bare ass, and I
don't really see how that's inappropriate.
It was on the verge of inappropriate. I know it was a baby, but the gestures and everything were very adult gestures with
I think
a
you're
bare
thinking about
butt.
it too much.
And you all watch the movie and tell me if you think it was just borderline. I'm not saying it was super inappropriate. It's not like I was. If we watched it again, I'm not going to cover the kid's eyes or anything. But it's borderline inappropriate. And then again, I think we're still well within the spoiler limit. Yeah, we got 2 minutes left until we have to stop talking about spoilers. So, the very end of the movie, Robin's trying to think of something big and heroic and meaningful and memorable to say to close out the movie. And they start rushing him, and they're just like, oh, we got to end it. You're running out of time. And he's like, oh, I can't think. And then finally they're just like, all right, this is the end of the movie. So he jumps up into the camera, sticks his face like camera. It's an animation, but he sticks his face into the screen and shouts into the audience. He says, "Kids, ask your parents where babies come from." And then it rolls credits, and I literally was in tears after that. I couldn't handle it.
What about the fart joke that you were laughing at?
The fart
you were a child.
at the beginning of the movie?
Mm-hmm.
It was the balloon. They popped the balloon's butt, and it was like leaking air for like. And they held it for so long. It was like a full minute of just... And it was funny. And then the tiger getting run over in the middle of the movie, too.
I don't know why that was so inappropriate. You act like that doesn't happen in cartoons all the time.
No, I'm not saying that wasn't... That by far was not, like, the most inappropriate moment of the movie. But, like, just the fact that they run this, like, happy animated tiger over, and they're just like, oh my god, we just ran him over. Is he dead? And then it's just dead, and they run away, like, to hide hide from the scene, you know? It's dark. It's not inappropriate, but it's just dark for a kids movie. Which that
Do you
also
watch kids
that also
cartoons?
was the scene that I was in. I was like,
You were laughing at that for like a good half hour.
way after that scene was over. I kept thinking about just the sound of the tiger as it was getting run over. Like, so stupidly funny. But okay, so I think the 5-minute mark is up. So. Spoilers are now over. We are going to stop discussing the Teen Titans Go to the Movies. But it was just a great movie. I highly recommend it to anybody, parents and non-parents alike. It's just a very enjoyable movie. What the is she chewing on now?
Drop it.
Oh, okay. Yes, go see Teen Titans Go to the Movies. The kids all enjoyed it too. They loved it.
Right.
They really did. I mean, I know
half the time I was yelling at Scarlett.
it wasn't half the time. She was okay. She just kept getting back and forth between the seats. But
my Scarlett can't sit still.
she doesn't have an attention span. Like
She can't
zero
sit
attention
still.
span. But she did okay. She did better at this movie than she's done at the other movies.
Yeah, I guess.
But it was fun. It was a fun movie. I highly recommend it. But yeah, stuff like that. Just dark humor and like parent humor. It's
I feel like if you censor everything for your kids, you're like setting them up for a lifetime of not knowing reality, and
right.
getting beat up.
No, I don't know. My mom censored stuff for me. Like,
Yeah, but you figured it out on your own. What about the kids that don't figure it out on their own?
although I do have to say, my mom didn't censor it for too long. Like, I saw my first rated R movie when I was probably like 10 or 11.
Oh my God.
My first one that I can remember. Man, what year would that have been? Maybe it wasn't.
Was I born yet?
I think my first rated R movie was Speed with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock, which I'm going to say that was probably 1994.
So I was 3.
Google. Yeah, 1994.
I was 3 when you saw your first rated R movie.
Yeah, but I was 9. So, yeah, 9 years old for my first rated R movie. Actually, it was on video by then, so I may have been 10.
A VHS tape?
Yes, it was on VHS. DVDs did not exist at that time. Success. You've proven that I'm in my 30s. But yeah. So that was even, my mom was pretty strict about, censorship. Like, I wasn't allowed to listen to Green Day for a long time because they dropped an F-bomb on Dookie.
What was that one song that you couldn't listen to part of it? God, what was that? It was really dumb. Oh, was it maybe Smashing Pumpkins?
Oh, yeah. The song Zero by Smashing Pumpkins. My mom hated that song because there's the part when he says emptiness is loneliness and loneliness is... Or no, cleanliness? I don't remember. But he says God is empty, just like me. And my mom hated that. But she never, like... That was not one of the songs that she didn't allow me to listen to. Because at that point, I think... By the time I got into Smashing Pumpkins, I think she was over trying to censor my music. But also... I feel like even back then, like, music in the early to mid 90s was nowhere near as trashy as it is today. Like, today's music is just straight up filthy. Like, I know they cursed a lot and stuff, and there was, like, sexual lyrics and stuff, too, in the 90s, but it's, like, overboard now. Especially, like, rap is is filthy. I've been having a hard time. Like, the kids love that new Drake song, that In My Feelings, that Kiki song. I'm sure everybody knows it by now. And I have a hard time letting them listen to it, like, more than halfway, because, like, by the time the girl starts rapping, it just feels trashy. And I don't want my kids listening to that. I don't even know if it is trashy. I don't know if there's any cursing in it at all. I can't understand it. Man, no, I sound old. I don't understand the second half of the song, but it just feels dirty, and I don't like them listening to it. But, you know, I try not to let them listen to stuff that is like in your face cursing. Like, I know there's a lot of cursing in the music that we listen to around the kids, but I feel like it's kind of an undertone, you know, whereas there are songs that like go out of their way to like, fuck you, you know. I don't like them listening to that kind of stuff, because I don't want them thinking that that's okay to just go around saying that. So we're back around to that again. Back around to when it is and is not appropriate to curse. But yeah, music is one of the things that I really try not to censor what we listen to around them. We listen to just about everything until I hear them picking it up and saying it, and that's when it's like, okay, maybe that song's off.
Scarlet
exactly.
Every time.
I know, and that's why, like, Wu-Tang Clan is off limits now, because she picked it up and she actually sings that. So that one's done, and that was for a while too. Like, for a couple weeks after the last time we listened to that song, she was asking for the fucking Ruckus song. Yes, and I think she finally forgot about it. Thank God, but. So yeah, that one's off limits. But for the most part, man, sidetracked, and now I'm trying to remember what our original point was. I don't like censoring the things that we expose our kids to. If they want to watch something, if they want to watch a certain movie, and I think they're ready for it, I'll let them watch it. You know, the rating on it is not important to me. What's important is the content more than anything. Like,
I believe in censoring in relation to your kid.
Right. I mean, I'm sure it's nice having a rating system on everything, just so you can have a heads up that there may be something in there that they can't handle. But I don't feel like going by that rating system is 100% necessary. Like I know plenty of kids Mark's age that are playing games like Call of Duty and stuff, which I believe are like M. I think they're rated M.
Probably.
And that's, I mean, honestly, I feel like that is definitely a bit much for Mark, because he's not ready for that. That doesn't mean kids his age aren't ready for it, you know? I guess if you're going to take anything away from this episode of Kids for Sale, don't, for one thing, don't let other people make you feel guilty for letting your kid watch a PG-13 movie, or for letting them play a T for teen game, because it's not any of their business. It's your business. If you know your kid better than anybody else does. If you think your kid can handle it, let them. But make sure you're also there to explain to them, like, this is only appropriate in this context, and, you know, don't go doing this, or don't go saying this in these places, because, I mean, kids don't know, and that's where you have to be the rating system to let them know when it is right and when it is wrong. And that's something a lot of parents, I think, just kind of take a back seat on that, and just
Well, it's especially hard now because everybody's so judgy.
Right, and that's what I hate. I hate the judginess today. Like,
don't get me wrong. A kid's acting up in public, I'll be like, their parents suck.
Those parents. Yeah, I do.
I don't say anything, and then later on, I'm like, well, that's probably my kid anyway.
I have not had to say anything yet, but there has been several times where I was on the verge of saying, like, not like saying, hey, you need to stop your kid from saying this. But it was more along the lines of, hey, your kid better not get my kid doing this, or I'm going to be pissed. Or you need to stop him saying that in front of my kids, because I don't want them hearing that coming out of his mouth,
I don't even really agree with that, because you're kind of telling them not to have their kids say something so you don't have to parent.
That goes with, you need to be your kid's filter, like you need to teach them when it is right and when it is wrong. And when it is wrong is like kids, like for instance, I don't know, we take the kids to the playground and there's a kid running around cursing at the playground or something. You're just okay with that? Or are you going to tell the parent, hey, could you stop your kid from doing that? Like, so, it's none of your business.
Obviously, I think that they shouldn't let their kid do that, but also it's like, it's more about you teaching your kid, hey, this happens, but that doesn't mean you should be doing it. I feel like part of the issue today is that a lot of parents are saying, hey, this shouldn't exist because I don't want to have to teach my child that this isn't good.
Well, my point, though, is it's hard to teach a kid that no matter if you explain to them, like, hey, this kid is not right, they shouldn't be doing that, so I don't want you doing that. All they're going to see is a kid their age was doing something that now they want to do,
Well, and the lesson might not stick immediately, but it's just something that you have to...
My point is, like, I don't care what somebody else's kids do in their own home or in other places, but when they're exposing my kid to it, now it is my business. So... I'm not saying, like, you need to get in their face and say, hey, you're a horrible parent, you shouldn't. But I'm just saying, like, you should. And personally, I want to go up to them and say, hey, could you make sure they don't say that around here? Like, I don't care what they do behind closed doors, but when my kid is around in a public area, I don't want them exposed to that.
We'll agree to disagree.
Yeah. And like I said, it's not something that I've even had to do. There's been a couple times...
You're too much of a baby. You're
been a couple of times when I've been on the verge of it, but then the parent stops them anyway. Like, I've heard plenty of kids cussing at the playgrounds and stuff, but usually, like, the parent will step in and stop it. So, I don't know.
It annoys me when there's, like... older kids. That's what annoys me.
Oh, yeah. The 12-year-old kids that think they're like...
I think it's more, though, not because they're... Yeah, but I was like that, too.
Oh, I was
absolutely
cringe. Like that. Yeah. I know.
I think I hate it more just because it makes me think of myself and how dumb I was.
Yeah. You were dumb.
You'd know.
I don't know what that means. My phone's buzzing.
Anyway, yeah, you're a baby.
Oh, yeah, we're back to that now.
You were about to ask why you're a baby.
No, I know why I'm a baby. It's because I'm a baby. I'm very non-confrontational. I'm not a confrontational person.
Unless it's me.
I don't like being mean. I don't like...
Unless it's me.
Yeah, I guess that's fine. That's a good way to put it. I'm only an asshole to Ashley and no one else on the planet.
For real.
Anyway, I'm a non-confrontational person. I don't like arguing, but at the same time, I don't like... So this is along the same lines as like a kid pushing our kids around on the playground and their parents doing nothing to stop it. That pisses me off. Like, I know our kids need to be tougher and stuff, but what if the kid's just bigger and should know better than to pick on littler kids?
Well, I feel like
that's not
that's
really
a little
censorship.
bit different.
I know that's not really censorship.
Your kid's running the risk of like getting hurt or something. It's like you don't want to pick their fight. There's such a fine line because you don't want to pick their fights for them, but you also don't want them to get their ass kicked either.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would teach Scarlett to stick up for herself, but obviously keep a close eye to make sure the situation doesn't get out of hand.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you want to teach your kid to, you're not going to be able to fight their battles for them the rest of their lives. So you want to teach your kids to, be able to stick up for themselves, but.
Which won't ever be an issue for Scarlett. Although Scarlett's tough. She's aggressive, but she's also a pushover a lot. Like, she will straight up take the blame for stuff she doesn't do.
I think she's a pushover just with your kids because she wants your kids to like her.
Yeah, but what's going to happen when she's in school with other kids and she wants other kids to like her?
Ducky.
We're getting a little off topic now, but she's going to find every single one of those. She's chewing up army men.
You're the one that let the kids play with them and leave them on the floor.
This is the playroom.
Aren't those your army men?
Oh, God, now you officially made me sound like the biggest child in the world. Actually, no, the army men are not mine.
They're yours.
No, the army men probably are mine.
They are yours.
Well, no, I know the D&D figures are mine.
I'm pretty sure the army men
and I know the army
too.
men are in the bucket with my D&D figures, but I don't think the army men were mine. And that's not important. It's not important.
Making fun of you is very important.
So anyway, censorship. This should go without saying, but it's absolutely the parents' discretion. You let your kids watch whatever you want them to watch, whatever you think they're ready for, but fucking make sure they are ready for it, because there's stuff out there that kids are just not prepared to see, and it will scar them, like, legitimately. If they see something super graphic as a young kid,
like
that's
taking your young child on the Tower of Terror.
All right, you know what? He was 5.
When the Dumbo ride was scaring him?
He was 5, and it was the first ride he agreed to go on at Disney World, and I took advantage. And I thought maybe the adrenaline would get him going and pump him up for the rest of the week, but it was a big mistake, and he didn't go on anything for a couple more days. But that all turned around, and he was a lot braver this time around when we went back to Disney in October last year. And he went on almost everything except for the Tower of Terror this time. But yeah, that's besides the point. My point is that kids need context more than censorship. So if you're going to do anything, I'm not telling you how to raise your kids. If you want to censor them and not let them do anything but G-rated movies until they're 13, that's absolutely your discretion.
But you're setting them up for failure.
You are setting them up to not be prepared for the real world. So I think if you're going to take any point from today's episode, just know that context is 1,000 times more important than censorship itself. Be there to explain to them what things mean and when to say it, when not to say it, when to do it, when to not do it, when to see it, when not to see it. Because those are the life lessons that are important. That's what they're really going to take away at the root of it all, is that there's a time for it and a time not for it, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
But anyway, that'll be it for today's episode of Kids for Sale. You can check us out every other Friday on the Journey into Comics Network. And Journey into Comics puts out new content every single day of the week. So make sure you check out the other podcasts, the Journey into Comics podcast, the one that started it all. You can check out Foodies Watching Movies, The Poor Report, Podcastrophe, Brews with Dudes. You can check out, I don't know. Go on the Journey into Comics website, which I fuck up this URL every time, and I'm going to make sure I got it right this time. Bear with me while I look it up. I think it is journeyintocomics.com, right? Yeah, I got it. It's just
that up.
Because I always think it's journeyintocomicsnetwork.com or it's just journeyintocomics.com. And that is where you will find all of the content from the network. You can subscribe using Patreon, and you will get exclusive content. You will also get episodes of your favorite shows early, like the second that they're uploaded online, you will be able to listen to them. Whereas if you are not a Patreon subscriber, you have to wait until the release date. Which, if I get this episode to Nate early, this might come out as early as Wednesday night or Thursday morning, whereas the rest of you won't get to listen to it until Friday.
Aw.
I know. I'll have to wait a whole day.
Sucks.
But, I mean, the Patreon's cheap. I think it's like $1 and $3 tiers a month. Just throw them a couple bucks. Get the content early, and you'll get exclusive episodes along with it. Follow all the shows on Facebook, and including ours. Check us out. Check out our Facebook. It's Kids for Sale. I think Kids for Sale Pod is our handle on Twitter and Instagram, which I'm still learning Instagram and Twitter, so there's not a lot of content on those social media platforms right now, but we do try to keep our Facebook up to date with new pictures and new videos, and we'll throw links up there every once in a while for, videos and stuff that are, kid related, and so check us out. Kids for Sale Pod on Twitter, Instagram. You can always email us at kidsforsalepodcast@gmail.com. And I've said this every single episode. I have yet to get a single email. Please email us with questions, comments, concerns, stories about your kids that you may want to share with us, ideas for future episodes. If you think I talk too much, fucking tell me I talk too much.
You talk too much.
You don't count. You're not a listener.
We really have to listen.
We really do want comments about the show, guys, because we don't know what direction you want us to head in, and this is all still very new to us. So we want to give you the best content we possibly can, and we can't do that without knowing what you want to hear. So,
well, we already know your mom wants less cussing.
Yeah. Well, sorry, Mom.
And less bickering between us, but that's just us.
Yeah, so. I was going to say that if
we don't bicker, we aren't talking.
That's 100% true. But again, thank you for listening. Check us out every other week. Check us out on all those platforms I just said. JourneyIntoComics.com. Go there, listen to other shows, subscribe to the Patreon, and we will see you in a couple weeks. Thanks for listening. Bye.